No one saw this coming as Stephen A. Smith revealed his top 5 teams to land Giannis and his top 5 teams to land Kevin Durant. The Rockets, well, they made an appearance on both lists. We tell you what number the Rockets are and what Stephen A. Smith all in today's video. Welcome to Rockets Digest. I am Jace Andrews. We appreciate you joining us. If you have not subscribed, my friend, today is the day, because not only are we on the road to 1800, not only have we become the fastest growing Rockets YouTube channel on the platform, but also, we had a meeting today to discuss more content efforts right here on Rockets Digest. I'm talking live streams each week. I'm talking potential game casts coming up in the upcoming season, and some shorts and a bunch more content and videos that I can't wait for you to see. But for you to see it, you gotta be subscribed. It's 100% free, and it's the best way to support the channel. Let's talk about this. Stephen A. Smith lists the Rockets among top destination for NBA superstars. Of course, we know those two to be Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo, the talks of the NBA offseason, and rightfully so. And Houston has been thrown right into the mix because of not only their assets they have in the draft capital, but also the young talent and their ability and what they have shown to come out and potentially be a threat in the Western Conference next season. Now, Kevin Durant has a little bit more likelihood to be traded in this upcoming offseason than Giannis Antetokounmpo, but we have some reports today that we'll get to before we get to what Stephen A. Smith said that can kind of tell you the full story on both KD and on Giannis Antetokounmpo. So let's get right into it here on Rockets Digest. This one first about Kevin Durant. Jed Katz from Rockets SI, appreciate his work. He says, quote, Durant is almost guaranteed to be moved, as it has been reported that the Phoenix Suns are adamant about trading the superstar ahead of the NBA draft. Now, this all coming per Jonathan Gambadoro of Arizona Sports on 98.7. So this has been a topic we've talked about a lot. Kevin Durant is going to be traded this offseason, especially with the hire of their brand new coach. They are in a, I'm not going to say rebuilding era, because they have Devin Booker. They're going to be a good team, but they are in a change of scenery era. They are going to be making some moves, and Kevin Durant going out is one of those moves. And KD, who played at UT, loves Houston, loves Udoka, it would be a very good fit. Now, for Giannis Antetokounmpo, here's what Jed says on that, saying, quote, while nothing suggests the Milwaukee Bucks are exploring Antetokounmpo trades, ESPN Shams Charania reported that the Greek Freak is open to options outside of his current team. And that is a huge, huge thing for a couple different reasons, because if Giannis does go on to the trading block, he automatically becomes the potential to be the biggest trade or biggest move, forget trade, biggest move since Kevin Durant moving to the Golden State Warriors, or want to go even back to LeBron James signing with the Miami Heat. That's how big Giannis being traded is. And again, it's not confirmed, but there are a lot of reports suggesting that it is very, very, very likely. Now, in terms of Houston, how do they fit into all this? Well, Jed Katz says this, saying, quote, the Houston Rockets have been heavily linked to both players for months now. Last year, the Rockets held interest in Durant, while Antetokounmpo has remained a target, according to Kelly Iko of The Athletic. If you don't remember that report, last week, The Athletic released a whole document really all about the Rockets. It was more about Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo in the offseason, but the Rockets were heavily, heavily mentioned, and they talked about how Kevin Durant is a top priority for the Houston Rockets, and how Giannis Antetokounmpo is a target for Houston. However, the details of what Houston will be giving up may be a little bit too rich for the Houston Rockets' blood. And so, that's where we sit right now. Stephen A. Smith on First Take had his Stephen A. list, which if you don't know the show, it's a segment he does where he lists off certain things. Top 5 quarterbacks, top 5 this, top 5 that. Will, for the first time, he did a double list, and it was, where will KD end up, and where will Giannis Antetokounmpo up? You're going to be shocked by number one team, but I'll tell you why in just a second. But let's just go right into this list. The top 5 destinations for Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo, according to Stephen A. Smith of ESPN. KD at number 1 is the New York Knicks. The Rockets are number 2. The Timberwolves are number 3. The Pistons are number 4. And the Miami Heat are number 5. For Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak, number 1 is the New York Knicks. Number 2 is the Houston Rockets. Number 3 is the Dallas Mavericks. Number 4 is the Miami Heat. And number 5 is the Boston Celtics. And you're looking at this, and if you don't know Stephen A. Smith or you don't know his ties, He is a New York guy. He is a New York Knicks guy. So the reason the New York Knicks are number one is strictly due to Stephen A's ties and nothing else. There is nothing suggesting that they are the favorite to land either of these guys. There is a lot suggesting that the Houston Rockets and, of course, the Miami Heat are in favorites for both of these guys. The Rockets, though, at number 2 on both these lists, obviously present the biggest ability to make the trade. The reason behind that, as I've mentioned, the number 10 pick this year. For Kevin Durant, you have Phoenix's first-round picks coming up, and this number 10 pick technically does belong to the Phoenix Suns. For Giannis Antetokounmpo, you have young talent to a point where you're not going to force the Milwaukee Bucks to do a full and wholehearted rebuild. Instead, you're going to give them some young players to build off of and try and keep them into a not win now, but build and win later once Damian Lillard comes back from his torn Achilles. So that was the list, but now we got to talk about what exactly Stephen A. Smith said about both these guys on the show. And we go into this. Stephen A. Smith on the Rockets getting KD. Quote, KD, we understand Jalen Green just ain't ready. He ain't got that kind of perimeter game. Consistency is what you need. If you're Ime Udoka, it's a number 1 option, end quote. And I agree with him. Ime Udoka and the Houston Rockets would love to have another number 1 option. I think the criticism of Jalen Green has gone a little bit too far. Do I understand the value he brings, the contract he has, and the tradability that he has? 100%. And am I saying by no means the Rockets should 100% not trade him? But it has to be for the right price. And Kevin Durant is the right price. You get a guy who is really secure in the playoffs. You get a guy who can work the perimeter. You get a certified stud in Kevin Durant, and it may cost you Jalen Green. That's ultimately the way of the NBA, and when you're trading for a superstar, you're going to have to trade a guy who could potentially be a superstar. Now, I know the comments are mixed. I see in the comment section, don't trade Jalen Green, trade Jalen Green. It's a heavy, heavy topic, and don't get me wrong. I think if the Rockets keep him, he is going to be a superstar. However, I do understand that his tradability is very high right now with the contract he is about to earn and with the age that he possesses being so young and still having a lot to give with already 4 years of experience in the National Basketball Association. That's what he said on Kevin Durant. Now let's go into Giannis Antetokounmpo. Hope I have the right thing here. Here it is. Stephen A. Smith and the Rockets getting Giannis Antetokounmpo. Quote, Giannis and Houston, that locomotive coming at you with the pieces, Şengün and that crew, keep VanVleet and the boys. Oh yes, Houston would be no joke, end quote. I did my best to try and throw my little Stephen A. Smith flair in there. I'm not the greatest. He's one of a kind. But either way, the point still stands. If Giannis comes onto the Houston Rockets, I would be hard-pressed to say that even the way the Oklahoma City Thunder have played this way and the way they look in the NBA Finals, that the Rockets would not be the favorite to win the Western Conference next season with Giannis. It does really, really persist on the trade. He mentioned in that quote, Şengün. A lot of talk is saying that the Milwaukee Bucks to trade Giannis to Houston would require Alperen Şengün, which in that case, I'm out. I want Şengün. I want Amen Thompson. If you want Jalen Green, I'm more than open to talking business with you. But Şengün or Thompson, I'm stepping back and saying, we'll wait you out. If we're the best deal on the table come, let's say, early August, call us back because we know we're going to be one of the best deals. The big thing is, though, with the Suns, they've said time and time again, they want that number 10 pick because they classify that as theirs. And so, well, now what do? Which guy is better? What do the stats say? Well, let's look at them real quick. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is just 30 years old, 31 area by next season, had averaged a double-double this season. He, in the first round, was the leading point scorer in the NBA playoffs and was the leading rebounder in the first round of the NBA playoffs, despite really being a one-man crew on that Bucks team, especially after Damian Lillard went down. 30 points per game in the regular season, 11.9 rebounds per game. He fits the mold for a Rockets player, and he fits the mold for a Rockets need. It's really the best of both worlds. You get the points per game, you get the shooting ability, but you also keep that rebounding ability that Houston has really built an identity off of. And with Giannis, you know what you're getting out of the Greek Freak. He is going to put his heart and his soul into every single contest. And with a young coach like Ime Udoka, it really creates for an interesting team. It's all about the trade details, though, with Giannis. And I think that it was mentioned a little bit by Stephen A. Smith, but it's really about the details with it. But KD or Giannis makes this team better no matter which one this is. Now, let's make sure I got the right one here. Is this Giannis? This is KD. Here we go. So Kevin Durant, he will be 37 by the end of next season, and he is definitely on the back end of his career. That does not mean he is anything short of an NBA superstar caliber player. His points per game a little bit lower than Giannis at 26.6. His rebounds the same, but he has the clutch and the ability that I'm not going to say Giannis doesn't have, but the more proven that Kevin Durant does have. He was very good in his time with the Golden State Warriors when he did get to play in the playoffs, and he is a leader on the team in a lot of different facets. I think he'd be great teaching ability for Alperen Şengün, and the biggest thing with Kevin Durant, he is going to cost so much less than what a Giannis Antetokounmpo is. In my mind, especially after the talks of the Phoenix Suns lowering their asking price for Kevin Durant, I truly believe that you could go to the Phoenix Suns and say, here's Jalen Green, the number 10 pick, your 2027 first-round pick, and maybe if that's not selling them, an extra pick, a Cam Whitmore would be potentially added in there. Now, I know that does get rid of Jalen Green, but it does make you a certified potential super team for the upcoming next 2-3 years for however long Kevin Durant does decide to stay in the league. Now, there is money involved. You're going to have to decline the option for Fred VanVleet and re-sign him to a more team-friendly deal or let Fred VanVleet go in altogether. There also is the talk that you're going to need to extend Kevin Durant after this upcoming season, which is something to be mentioned, but in a lot of these talks, it seems like that is a known thing that if the Rockets do get Kevin Durant, there will be a pretty quick extension. So I don't think that is something that you should really be maybe deterring you from trying to trade for Kevin Durant is probably the best way to put that in different aspects. So that's kind of what we see. Again, Stephen A. Smith, his top 5, once again, Kevin Durant, his number 1 is the New York Knicks. We know why it's the Knicks. But from there, the Houston Rockets, number 2. The Minnesota Timberwolves are the third best option, according to them. The Detroit Pistons at number 4, and the Miami Heat at number 5. For the Greek Freak, again, the Knicks Rockets are number 1, number 2. The Dallas Mavericks are number 3, obviously because of their number 1 pick and the trade that they made last year with Luka. They are in a position to make another big trade. And then, of course, the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics right out the top 5 there for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section. Is Giannis or KD somebody you want? I know we've talked about them a lot, but it's kind of getting a little more real as every day passes with the reports and these insiders labeling the Rockets as one of, if not the top team to land either of these guys. So trades are about to be coming. Free agency is less than a month away. The NBA Finals is, I'm not going to say coming to a close, but the NBA season is. They're tied a game apiece with OKC and the Indianapolis Pacers, so it'll be interesting to see how that series plays out with Tyrese and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But either way, the Rockets, they're looking forward to next season. Right now, no matter what happens, they are going to be a very good team next year, whether it's the same guys or they add KD or Giannis, or maybe there's a dark horse that we don't even know about. We appreciate you watching. As always, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you next time here on Rockets Digest. Peace out, guys.